The DeLonghi Eletta Ultra can prepare more than 50 coffee drinks. And today, I'm going to show you exactly what they are, how they differ, and which ones are really worth using. Since there are so many drinks, in this video we're going to focus on milk-based coffee drinks. And at the end of the video, we'll leave you links so you can also check out all the black coffee drinks and the cold versions. And stay until the end, because you'll see them all side by side and finally understand which one fits you best. Let's get started. As I mentioned, we'll start by looking at the coffee and milk drinks. Specifically, this coffee maker offers the drinks you're seeing on screen right now. The difference between them mainly comes down to the amount of coffee, milk, and foam used in each preparation. In addition, we can customize each one by selecting the drink size and coffee strength. For all the drinks we'll show in this video, we'll use size M and strength level 3. But let's see it in action to better understand how it works, starting with a classic, the cappuccino. This drink is characterized by using an espresso-style coffee dose, along with an amount of milk and milk foam that roughly doubles the amount of coffee. Among milk-based drinks, we could consider it one of the most balanced between milk and coffee, since other drinks, as we'll see later, have a much higher proportion of milk. Another characteristic feature of the cappuccino is that it usually comes with a generous layer of foam, as you can see in this case. Also, as you may have noticed, in this recipe the coffee maker dispenses the milk first and then the coffee. This keeps both parts slightly separated and gives the drink its characteristic taste. The next recipe I'm going to show you is the cappuccino mix. As you can see, it's very similar in terms of coffee, milk, and foam proportions to the one we just prepared. But in this case, the cappuccino mix is different because the coffee is dispensed first and then the milk. This way, the coffee and milk blend together more, creating a drink with slightly different flavor notes. And if you like this drink but want the coffee flavor to stand out more, you also have the option to prepare the Cappuccino Plus, which adds a larger amount of coffee than the previous two. One of the new regional recipes included in the Eletta Ultra is Galao, a Portuguese drink that is similar to the cappuccinos we've just seen, but with a slightly higher amount of milk and less foam. And here you can see these 4 drinks side by side so you can better appreciate the differences. From left to right we have Cappuccino, Cappuccino Mix, Cappuccino Plus, and Galao. Moving on to drinks with a higher proportion of milk, we have another classic, the Latte Macchiato. In this case, to prepare this recipe, the Eletta Ultra dispenses much more milk than coffee, creating a drink with a much smoother coffee taste. As you can see, it also adds a medium amount of foam, but in a much lower proportion than the cappuccino. Within this same type of drink, we also have the Caffelatte, which is quite similar to the previous one, although with some differences that give it a different character. In this case, even more milk is added, but almost no foam. To achieve these differences in foam levels, the coffee maker tells us on the screen which position to place this lever on the Latte Crema carafe, which lets us select a low, medium, or high amount of foam. Another regional recipe included in the Eletta Ultra is Milchkaffee, which is the German version of coffee with milk. It differs from the previous drinks because it uses a much higher amount of coffee and very little foam. As you can see, it's a much darker drink because it uses more coffee. And here you can also see these 3 drinks with a higher amount of milk, so you can better appreciate the differences. From left to right, we have Latte Macchiato, Caffelatte, and Milchkaffee. Continuing with other regional recipes, we have Koffie Verkeerd, which is typical in the Netherlands. I found this one quite interesting because in this case the coffee maker uses a double coffee dose. It's the only milk-based coffee drink that does this, resulting in a stronger coffee taste. Along the same lines, if you're someone who prefers milk-based coffee drinks where the coffee flavor stands out more and there isn't as much milk foam, you'll probably love the flat white. In this case, it also uses a good amount of coffee, with a slightly higher proportion of milk and a medium amount of foam. As you can see from the color, this drink is also much more coffee-forward than the previous ones. If you want a drink in this style, with a stronger coffee presence and almost no foam, we have Café con Leche, which is typical in Spain. As you can see, it uses a very small amount of milk. A very similar recipe is Café au lait, which is very popular in France. It's practically the same recipe as the previous one, but the difference is that it dispenses the milk first, with a higher proportion and almost no foam, and then the coffee. Here you can see these last 4 drinks side by side again. From left to right we have Koffie Verkeerd, Flat White, Café con leche, and café au lait. And finally, we have drinks with a much smaller proportion of milk or foam, such as the cortado, which is also based on espresso, but with a similar amount of milk and a minimal amount of foam. Within this same category, we also have the espresso macchiato, which is usually an espresso with a small cloud of foam on top, although in this recipe a little milk is also added. And to finish with the milk-based recipes, it's also interesting to know that you can prepare hot milk, with or without foam, to drink on its own, or combine with whichever drink you prefer. It even includes a version designed for kids called Baby Chino, which is basically a small glass of hot milk with foam. And now we've seen all the milk-based drinks the DeLonghi Eletta Ultra can prepare. Without a doubt, it's one of the coffee makers that offers the widest variety. What do you think? Leave us your opinion or questions in the comments, and we'll reply as soon as possible. And now that we've seen how to prepare all the milk-based recipes, in the next videos, we'll show you what other coffee drinks and cold coffee drinks you can prepare with this coffee maker. Don't miss them.